Okay, let's see. Let me try to figure out the best way to do this. Trying to be live on two different things at once. It's not easy. I haven't mastered that, where it's like you're live on multiple platforms at once. We haven't. I've got the tripod here though, and then my laptop. So hopefully this is good for you guys. And then for you guys, hi. There's so many people already. Hello, welcome. Hi, Beauty with Rita. Save me. G-Bus? I don't know what that is. Love you too. Thank you so much. Hey, Ami Brad, how are you doing? Welcome in. I'm sorry if the quality is kind of weird. This is my first YouTube live stream, so I'm kind of just experimenting. So please bear with me. I hope that the sound is okay. I was going to connect my microphone, but it was giving me issues. So that's just not going to happen today. So I hope you can just hear me okay. Moral of the story. Thank you. You guys are so sweet already. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Oh, my videos have saved you. Thank you. Okay, I'm glad the sound is good. Okay. Okay, today we are going to talk about how to love your body and how it's actually easier than you think. And it will all make sense once I go through everything, and you will actually understand how you can get to that point where you can look at yourself in the mirror and love your body. And this is obviously very, very important for our lives in general, right? So if you're approaching life on a daily basis with this sort of ingrained hatred for yourself and your body, this is going to affect your opportunities. It's going to affect your relationships. It's going to affect your health, because when you constantly dislike yourself, you are going to be out of sync with your body and your mind. Hello, George. Welcome in. Hi. This is my first little live stream on YouTube, so please do bear with me. I know it's not perfect, but the information will be the same and it will be beneficial. Okay, so I think we have everybody in here. All right, so how to love your body. It is easier than you think. So loving your body is actually the easy part. What is difficult is more about what needs to happen in order for you to get to that place. So where to begin when you feel like you dislike your body? First of all, a lot of the time we are comparing ourselves to others. So the first thing that we really need to make sure that we're doing is understanding our body types. So if you are scrolling through Instagram and you see a woman look a certain type of way, you are going to compare your body and you're going to say you don't. So already all you're doing is focusing on what you don't have. And when you do that, you are going to feel terrible about yourself. For example, a huge thing for me would be women that are bodacious. They have, big boobs. Maybe they're more curvy. That is not my body type. So whenever I would see somebody that looks like that, I would start to think, oh my gosh, I am ugly. Like I don't have what she has, etc. So you need to actually learn about your body type and gain knowledge. So knowledge activates the ability to think logically. When we are thinking based on emotion, logic goes out the window. So emotion is also a lot of the time a protective mechanism. So you are trying to keep yourself safe. A lot of the time we will immediately go to negative emotion and negative thoughts. Okay, so when you have knowledge, you are able to activate logic. Logic will then activate acceptance. When you are able to accept your body, you can start to go into positive thought around your body. If you know what your body is, what your body type is, your facial structure, and how to work with that, that will totally transform the way that you look at your body. And when you know how to work with what you have, you won't see what you lack anymore. And in fact, you'll be able to identify what somebody else wouldn't be able to pull off that you can. So you won't be seeing other people in a superior light. You will simply be seeing them as different because you have the knowledge and you are able to logically think about what it is that they have that maybe you don't, rather than from a place of lack, more like, oh, that's something they could wear. So a lot of the times I would think, or I would see somebody wearing something, even a color, and I would think, why, when I put this on, do I look so awful? Why? And then immediately I start to think, well, it's because I am not beautiful. That person is beautiful and they can pull off anything. So that's not true, right? So when you have the knowledge of how to work with your features, your body type, it will change everything. And not only that, but you also need to understand your coloring. So what kind of color season are you? And if you aren't familiar with, I will save this video, Maria, don't you worry. If you are not familiar with color seasons, look it up. So there's two things that you need to look up. The Kibi body type, so you can identify what body type you are. So it is a little bit more clear with women, but there is a male version too. And then the second thing is your color season. So these two things, when you can just logically look at what body type you are, what coloring you are, this is going to change everything. Okay. It's that simple. So once you accept your body and understand what you were given by God, which is a gift, okay, you will then have power. So this is really important. You need to give yourself power. And knowledge is power. So when you have more information, that is when you can start to remove emotion. This is so important. A lot of the times we stop learning after school. Definitely get that out of your brain. You need to learn on a daily basis. What is it that you're struggling with? Start learning about it. So if you're struggling with body image, learn about how to improve your body image and get knowledge around it. If you're struggling with relationships, start learning about it. This is the key. So when you have knowledge, you have power. So with your looks, and if you understand your body type and coloring, you will have the power to learn about what looks good on you. And of course, what colors look good on you, what shapes look good on you, so that you won't also waste your money. I mean, that is something I did a lot. I would buy things and trains and all that, and I would just waste my money. Colors as well. You won't be buying colors that look terrible on you, right? So I love pink, but pink looks awful on me. So there's that. I love light pink, but it just completely washes out my skin. So there's that. Thank you for helping me recognize how to love myself more. I am so, so glad that this helps you, Elsa. I know that this helped me so much. I used to have so many body issues. I genuinely struggled to look in the mirror a lot of the time. So I have been there, and I want you to know that this is how I got here. So everything that I'm telling you is what I learned. So, and then of course, working in the fitness industry, you know, I wanted to figure out how can we love ourselves? How can we get past this awful sort of self-hate situation where we working out just to lose weight, just to look like somebody else. You don't want that. And we will talk about that in a bit. Let me just see the comments here. Okay. All right. So I have more on that. Okay. So I used to struggle with my body. Like I said, so I am not bodacious. Okay. But I would look at these women that have big boobs. They're curvy. They're kind of like more sensual, sexual looking. And I am more little girl looking, right? My features are, which if you look up Kippy body types, you will see that I'm a gamine. So I have more of the little mousy features. I will never look like Scarlett Johansson, okay? So, but I would look at Scarlett Johansson and be like, why do I not look like her? You know, and of course, if this is a struggle you're having on social media, unfollow these people. That is what I did. I unfollowed people that made me start to think about what I don't have. So understand that we are human beings. You will still have these sort of negative habits, even with the knowledge, but the knowledge will give you everything that you need to stop comparing yourself. But just unfollow them. There's no need to actually like trigger yourself, you should actually get rid of all of that in general. Okay. Okay, so here's a little bit more on that. So, and I wrote notes, that's why I keep looking. Um, when you understand the Kibi body type and or your body type, and you understand your color seasons, you are able to accept the things that you cannot change. If you live in a world where you constantly think about everything that you want to change that you just can't change, right? You are going to just set yourself up for disappointment and be miserable. So, what are things that we cannot change? Let's talk, actually, let's talk about things that you can change. So, what are things that you can change, right? So, you can change your weight, your muscle tone, your muscle size. You can impact how your skin looks through a healthy diet, things like red light, obviously, self care, blah, 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 drinking more water. You can impact certain things on you and make yourself glow in different ways. You can moisturize your skin, take care of your hair and your nails, all of that, right? But what you cannot change are things like your facial features. You can't change your body type. No matter how much weight you lose or muscle you gain, you will never ever be able to change the structure of your body without surgery, of course, which I know celebrities do and all of that. But I don't recommend that. And I don't recommend living in a world where you're constantly trying to reach unattainable, unhealthy levels of perfection. Oh, there is? Let me get my headphones quickly, and I think that will help. Give me 1 second. Sometimes this light gives off a weird sound. Let me just fix that quickly. Sorry, guys. Let me know. Let me know if this helps. I think it will. Okay. So let's keep going. And then, yeah, just let me know if this helps. So where were we? Okay, so you can obviously, I'm so glad it's better. Thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate you letting me know that it was sounding awful. Okay, I will reply to comments in just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so what can you change? Obviously, you can put more effort into certain things. That it's important to think about the things that you can change too. There is that. But we are going to focus on what you cannot change just for a little bit, because that is really the key to having self-love. When you are able to look at the things that you cannot change, I'm so glad that you can hear me. Awesome. When you are able to look at the things that you cannot change. So focus on what you what you can change only when it comes to wanting to improve your physical appearance, but focus on accepting what you cannot change, right? And the way that you do this is through knowledge and learning what looks good on you, what works for your body, all of that stuff. This is so important. Once you learn these things, you actually will start to love it, because when you know how to work with your physical form, it's fun. It's fun. And you're like, oh, I realize that pink doesn't look good on me, so I'm going to start wearing more brown, which is my example. Now I have a lot of brown things to the point where I'm a little bit over brown. But also another thing is you want to feel good in whatever you're wearing. So obviously experiment, avoid, trendy things, trendy makeup, trendy clothing, trendy hairstyles. These things most of the time will not even work. Like maybe there'll be a trend that really works for your body, but a lot of the time kind of just leaves us feeling empty and ugly, because trends may look good on a certain body type, like I said, but most of the time it leaves us just feeling kind of unfulfilled. Okay, so focus on what you can change only. And whenever you start to think about things that you hate about your body, stop it immediately. So we'll use the bodacious sort of example for me, when I would start to think about, you know, or look at women that have this bodacious body type, I would start to just cut it off, right? Because obviously I cannot change the fact that I'm not bodacious unless I went and got a boob job and like got a, what is it, BBL, whatever people get these days. If you look at Kylie Jenner, right, she totally transformed her entire body. She was beautiful to begin with, but she completely morphed herself into a different being. So that is not realistic for 99% of the population. So whenever you start doing that, stop. Do not ever allow yourself to waste time on wishing for you to be somebody else. You're also going to fuel more of it. So when you put a thought in your head, you will come back to that probably like the next day or the next week, and then you'll start to create a pattern of wishing that you had something that you don't. So you need to make sure that you stop it every single time you start wishing you had bigger boobs, a smaller nose, or whatever it is, right? Keep losing myself in my notes because I'm going off. Okay. The more you feed it, the more your brain will distort your thoughts. So that's another really powerful thing. We distort the way that we look. So I remember the other day, I was watching this video and they started talking about nasal labial folds or something like that. And I had never even thought about that. That had never even crossed my mind. And then suddenly I started thinking, oh, like, do I have that? And then your brain like starts to make it, like literally on your face. Okay. And they were talking about how like Jennifer Aniston has these like nasal labial folds that she just has naturally had. And I always thought that was a really beautiful thing about her. Like she just looks different, right? I love Friends. So when I watch her, I just see somebody that looks so unique and she's so beautiful. But, for like, I don't know, a beauty standard, she may have some flaws, but we'll talk about flaws too. Okay, anyways, you need to shift your thoughts to what's pretty or good looking about you rather than focusing on what you don't have. So never ever live in a place of lack, especially with your looks, because if you start to go deep into hating the way that you look, it's going to be even difficult to step outside. It's going to be difficult to communicate with people. You're going to be so insecure. This is so important. And I feel like nobody talks about this. It's so important to love the way that you look, because then you can sit and look at somebody in the eyes and not overthink about what they're seeing about you, because I promise you they're not. Nobody is sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, that person is so ugly. No one is. They're thinking, oh, what does this person think about me? Okay. So, but you need to be able to step into the world feeling good about yourself and feeling proud of your body, because and you have the knowledge, what body type you are, what color season you are, and you've got the information. So you know how to work with your features. There's this really stunning girl that I saw the other day, and the way that she used colors with her eyes and her hair, I just thought, wow, if she was in her wrong colors and like dressed wrong, I probably wouldn't have noticed how stunning she is. But when you can bring out your natural beauty that every single person on this planet has, everybody has a unique beauty to them that they can accentuate. And that is really the key to loving how you look. When you know how to work with yourself, that is key. And that's why I made it number one, because that is the most important. And then we'll talk a little bit more about mindset. Okay, number two. That was long. Number two. I don't know why maybe that's because I'm doing this. Okay. Okay. So this one's a little bit more of a tricky one. You need to start thinking about somebody. You need to start thinking of yourself as somebody that you love, somebody that you care for. So quite literally, when you see yourself in the mirror, instead of thinking like, oh my gosh, my skin looks awful, oh my gosh, my hair is so ugly, whatever, okay? Instead of that, you need to change the way that you look at yourself. You need to start thinking of yourself as a totally separate person from you in a way. Thinking of yourself as being, I will take questions definitely, but you can ask your question, but I will come to them later. Thinking of yourself separate from you. Okay. So imagine that you're sitting with yourself looking at you. If you're looking in the mirror, you are someone else, you're looking at yourself with love. So rather than looking at yourself and acknowledging all of the flaws and thinking of yourself as you, try to see yourself, and I know this is really complicated, as somebody that you love, like a family member, a sister, a friend. Because then you can actually start to care for yourself a little bit more. Because when we think about ourselves, it's really difficult to separate ourselves from people that we love. But in order to love yourself, you have to think of yourself as a little bit separate. So in your brain, when you see yourself, I want you to think about the little girl in you or the little boy. I want you to think about what you have been through in your life and how much love you deserve and how worthy you are of love despite anything else. When you can truly care about you, that is when you start to see beautiful things in people. So have you ever noticed when you start dating somebody, let's say, and you kind of like, maybe there's like a few things that are questionable, like maybe their hair or like something, you're like, I don't know, I'm really attracted to that. Like, hopefully if I keep seeing them, I won't think of it. And then you see them a little bit more and you get to know them and you see them in a totally different light. And you're like, oh, I actually love these flaws. Like, I think that his hair is actually really pretty, but at first you didn't. And then you're like, how did I not see this as attractive? So the same thing happens. And when you have a new friendship too, things that you notice about people, you start to like them and you start to like their flaws because you develop a love and a care for them. So you start to see people in different lights. You need to do the same thing with yourself. So when you see yourself and you think of yourself as you're not inclined to think of yourself with love. You're inclined to think of yourself sort of, you think of all the negative things immediately. But what you need to do is develop that love for you. Okay. So you are unique. And when you embrace your flaws, you can develop a love for it and inspire others to embrace their flaws too. If we all embrace our flaws, it's something that we'll love about other people rather than think of it as negative. Flaws. Flaws are probably something that are just out of the conventional beauty standard, I mean, I can think of lots of examples of ways that I have developed like a love for the way that somebody looks, even if I didn't see it at first, and that's something like for me, let me think, what did I mean, I like I say, I wanted the bodacious thing and I thought, it's good to be different, like a different kind of woman that isn't bodacious. I don't know. Like I started just to like love that part of me, and know that some people prefer that. Some people actually, they like a lot of women don't feel very feminine because of that, right? And that was something that I learned. Like I'm definitely more of the like athletic type body, right? And I instead thought of it as a positive. And I thought, oh, that's actually really something that I can love about myself. And I'm very small. Maybe not, might not look like it on here, but I'm very, very small. I didn't love that. Like I was very short. I always feel like a little midget. And, some people really love that. And I realized I've realized that people look for that. And, for a long time, I thought it was only a negative, but it's not. So instead of looking at your features as negative, just seeing them objectively for what they are, knowing that not everybody's going to choose that, but that's okay. The people that love you and the people that look for that are going to choose that and are going to choose you. And you need to choose you. So look in the mirror and tell yourself, you deserve the world. You deserve better than whatever you're going through. You deserve that good friendship. You deserve your boss to treat you well. You deserve love. You need to tell yourself that. You are amazing and you are worthy. You are worthy on your own. You're not worthy because of your accomplishments. You're not worthy because of your level of attractiveness. You are not worthy, for all these things that we sort of make up in our heads. You are worthy just for being you. And your looks are worthy just for being them. Hold on one second. Okay. Um, so another thing that might be a little weird, and I just uploaded a class on my membership doing this. It is loving yourself. So this is still the same point, but you need to actually, quite literally, like give yourself physical love, like physical hugs. If you're feeling sad, physical rub, physical love to yourself. Imagine yourself sitting next to you. Like I said earlier, you are your friend, and your friend needs a hug, and you need to give yourself a hug, and you need to tell yourself, you are worthy, you are beautiful. You can be that for yourself. And you need to build love for yourself like love builds in relationships too. You can do that. It's hard work. You have to just, it's a relationship with yourself. You have to build it and you have to work on it. And this is also part of accepting you and the way that you look, and you're stuck with you forever. So you can either choose to live in ignorance. And the thing is that people don't want to accept the truth, right? They don't want to accept that they can never change something about themselves because it's uncomfortable. But we need to be uncomfortable. I can never change my face. I can never change my body. I can tweak it. I can get more muscular. I can lose weight. I can dye my hair. I can whatever, right? So all of these things you can change. But you have to accept the things that you cannot change. And, a lot like, in the non-toxic journey, I will say this, like I used to dye my hair. I used to get my eyelashes tinted and my eyebrows tinted. I used to do my nails. I haven't painted my nails in probably 2 years. And I used to do all these external things to try to feel more beautiful. But when I started loving myself in my natural form, I feel better. I feel better than when I was trying to mask my insecurities with all of these different things, right? So, like maybe you should look into that, eyelash extensions and whatever else that we do to try to feel more beautiful can kind of be harmful in the long run, because once they come off, you feel really ugly and you feel like you're lacking and you're not able to, feel the same about yourself. I think that some of these beauty standards that we hold ourselves to and the money that we spend on these ridiculous things, I'm not saying dyeing your hair is ridiculous. It's just a lot of us actually look better when we just embrace our natural selves instead of trying to be somebody else and trying to, be a blonde when you're not a blonde and I'm not saying you shouldn't. Please don't think that. I'm just saying sometimes you end up happier when you just embrace your natural self. Really, I don't know. Makes a difference. All right. Number 3. When you love something, you want to meet its needs. So think about that with your body. Your body needs to be healthy in order for you to feel that you love your body. So if you are treating your body like a dumpster and you are putting whatever into it and you are abusing it every single weekend with alcohol, and like I'm not saying never drink, I'm just saying like think about it. Like how are you going to trust yourself? Well, what did I do? There we go. How are you going to trust yourself when you are doing things that are incredibly destructive, And I'm not talking about like drinking and having a good time. I'm talking about like drinking to get sick. And I used to do this. I used to get really drunk and then throw up and it's like, what am I doing? I'm just like destroying myself. And like it's fine. It's not fine to do that ever, but it's fine to have fun, and you don't have to overthink everything that you do in life. But just think about the way that you treat yourself. Would you treat a child like that? Would you treat, somebody that you care about? Like, think about if you have a significant other, would you feed them alcohol until they're physically ill? Probably not. So why do we do that to ourselves? Would you feed them a ton of junk food that is really, really bad for them? Probably not. So why do we do that to ourselves? Would you sit there and tell them about all of the things that are terrible about them? No. In fact, most of us sit with our loved ones and we will only talk about the good things because we want them to feel good. You need to have that same mentality to yourself. So when you think about children as well, we want to nourish them. So you want to give them the healthiest food possible. We want to give them everything that will make them feel good physically. So if you nourish your physical body, you are also investing in your physical body. So the more that you invest in something, the more you care. And that is the big thing too. So when you spend a little extra money on your groceries and you buy organic, and you take a little extra time and you cook your food and you really work hard on nourishing yourself, you are actually investing. And this is a huge part of relationships too. So when somebody feels like they're investing, they start to take it very, very seriously, right? If you're investing time and effort into something, you are going to care a lot more. When you are treating yourself like trash, you're not going to care that much. You're going to continue to treat yourself like trash. How can you love something that you treat badly? You can't. So this is almost like a life hack. And it's also scientific. So when you nourish your physical being, you in turn will develop better blood flow. You will improve your brain function, the ability to, exercise, strive for your goals, whatever. Okay. You will develop a strong desire to eat well, exercise, show up for yourself, invest in yourself. Now, the thing with showing up for yourself, this is so crucial. You need to show up for yourself. So if you tell yourself, I am going to exercise tomorrow, and you don't, you are going to then develop a habit and you're not going to trust yourself, right? So if you're not showing up for yourself, you're going to be disappointed. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. But basically, you need to really, really prioritize treating yourself like you were a little kid, like somebody that you love. Well, it doesn't have to be a kid, but just like a really, really important person to you. You need to treat yourself well, and you need to think, would I do this to somebody I love? And if you wouldn't, then don't. Think about something that you love, and you want them to be the healthiest, happiest, most perfect state of being that they can possibly be. You got to think of yourself that way. Number 4 is discipline. So a lot of the hatred that we develop for ourselves and our bodies has to do with disappointing ourselves. So I did touch on that. Have you ever had somebody that disappointed you again and again and again, and you develop this deep, deep resentment for them? This is what happens when we do not stick to our word. You cannot love yourself when you have no trust, you have resentment, and you just hate yourself because you keep disappointing yourself. So especially when it comes to, loving your body, eating well, exercising well, you have to love you, obviously. So if you tell yourself that you will stop eating cookies, but then you continue to do it, you are disappointing yourself every single time, and you develop a deep sense of mistrust. So when you resent yourself and you don't trust yourself, this will keep you in a perpetual destructive cycle, okay? So start small. Like this week, I told myself I was going to start journaling. Oh my goodness. First of all, game changer. Journaling is a game changer. Wow. I am blown away. I would love to talk about that more, but of course, don't want this to go on forever. So for many years, I didn't trust myself. I would never follow through with anything that I said. Hi, welcome. And I would never, stick to my word. So now I have promised myself that I will journal every morning, and I have been. And so I'm developing more trust for myself, right? Because when you don't trust yourself and you don't show up for yourself, you just don't, you tell yourself you're going to eat healthy and then you never do. You tell yourself you're going to quit the cookies, you never do. You abandon yourself. So you start to develop an abandonment wound. And this goes deeper than just loving your physical body. Like if you just hate yourself in general, it's just a really dark place to be. So start with something small to build trust within yourself, which again leads to investment. And when you are investing in yourself, everything changes. Let me just brighten this a little bit. Everything's getting dark because there's a really crazy storm. So when you invest in yourself, you will love yourself and be proud of your body. So invest in yourself, invest in your body. And I'm not only talking about money, I'm talking about foods that you eat. Change it one thing at a time, okay? You don't need to suddenly go to the mirror now after this live stream and be like, I love you. I love everything about you. No, it's a journey, and it really is important to understand the framework behind it. So, number 1, understand your body type, your color season. Look up Kibi body type, color seasons. game changer. Improve your knowledge. Make sure that you understand what your body type is, how you can dress for your body type, for your color season. What can you do to really transform the way that you look at yourself? Number 2, think of yourself as somebody that you care for. So imagine the person that you love the most in this world. That is you. You need to love yourself more than anybody else. That's really important. You are the only person that is going to take you from the beginning of your life to the end. You need to love yourself literally more than anybody else on this planet. I don't have children. I don't know what it's like to love somebody that much. So I can't talk about that. But if you don't love yourself, you cannot show up properly for your children either. So I do think that you should make sure that you love yourself first. When you love something, you want to meet its needs. So think about what your body needs. You need to be meeting your body's needs. And not only that, but you need to also be thinking about how you can thrive. So you need to be going above and beyond for you, above and beyond to respect yourself, to love yourself, to care for yourself. All of these things are very, very important. And then the last thing is discipline and showing up for yourself and making sure that you are able to develop trust for yourself, that you don't let yourself down constantly. Very, very important. So you don't want to be disappointing yourself constantly and sort of developing resentment towards yourself. And that is pretty much it. I have questions. Let me see. Oh my goodness, I have so many. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to feel free to ask questions here, but I also do have questions from my story as well. And I hope that helped. It's not that loving yourself, it's not that loving yourself is difficult. It's difficult to get to that place where you are able to love yourself, if that makes sense. Okay. Sorry. When one is depressed and on a budget, what moves can they do without having to buy EQ? I don't know what EQ is. Okay. Well, if you are depressed and on a budget, which everybody should be on a budget, whether you have money or not. But if you are depressed, I would say, I don't know what EQ is, Elsa. Equipment. Okay, I don't have any equipment at home. I have a yoga mat, I have blocks, and that's it. I don't have anything else. So you don't get rid of the limiting beliefs, I would say. So get rid of the belief that you need weights and you need a home gym and you need everything. Okay, I do have a rebounder too, but you need all these things to be able to work out and to be able to improve your body. Like, none of that is true. You can work out with just you. You don't need anything else. You don't even need a mat. You can do whatever. So if you are on a budget and you don't want to spend money on like a workout program, then I highly recommend just going on YouTube. We have so many free resources. And if you are depressed, I would say you need to get to the bottom of that and you need to figure out what it is that's causing your depression. Because depression, it is usually caused by something, and usually it's a neglect of ourselves and an abandonment of ourselves, right? So not showing up for yourself, disappointing yourself, no trust, resentment towards yourself, all of that stuff usually does lead to depression. But I'm not saying that's the case. I don't know your situation. Advice for 24-year-olds? I mean, be more specific. I feel embarrassed to go to classes and practice fitness in public in general. How do I fix that? You need to just do it. So if you are feeling like it feels impossible for you to do something, then you need to prove to yourself that you can. So, for example, like I recently started a hiking group and I was convinced that I was not a leader. I remember even saying those words, like, I am not a leader. Like, I cannot do this. I don't know how to, lead groups. And it was a limiting belief. So what you're doing is limiting yourself. And you are also convinced that other people are going to really care about you being there, and they don't. People care about themselves. They only care about themselves. So you need to acknowledge that is pretty much, what's the word? You need to acknowledge that no one cares. I want to do a live stream on this, that no one cares. No one cares about you. No one cares about, um, you know, what you think they do. Most people are just thinking about themselves. So nobody is sitting there thinking like, I can't believe this person's working out here. That almost never happens. And even if they do, you need to detach yourself from caring about that. So you need to go back into your body, know what you need to do for yourself. And if you want to go to a yoga class, you go. And every time you go, you will become less fearful of it. You will be able to develop like a sense of belonging. Like, I had to church hop when I first came here. So like basically I had to find a church that would work for me. And some places I really felt unwelcome and I felt weird. Other places I felt good. So, but the more that I do it now, I can literally walk into any church and not care. Like, I don't care if I'm by myself. I am just so used to doing it to the point where I'm just not afraid, right? So you will get to that point if you just keep going. I keep giving into my sugar cravings. How do I stop? Controversial. You stop. You just stop. You have all of the power in the world to not go to the store and give in to those sugar cravings. You are capable of saying no to yourself. And every time you prove to yourself that you are not capable by going and doing it again, then you sort of create this self-fulfilling prophecy and this cycle that will never end. You need to stop. Literally, how can you prevent yourself from getting that sugary treat? Remove yourself. Yes, you may develop some withdrawals, but it's more simple than you think. If we are addicted to something, and it depends, obviously, but usually you can just stop doing it, right? You need to know that you are not powerless, that you are capable of stopping something if you put your mind to it. It suddenly got so bright in here and I can't see anything. I am blind. Okay. I feel like I don't believe in myself enough to change. What should I do? So I think that the reason that you don't believe in yourself is because you show yourself that you cannot, again, trust yourself. You show yourself that you are not reliable. So you never show up for yourself. You never stick to your word. So you don't believe in yourself. You say to yourself, I'm going to start this diet this week or whatever, which I don't recommend diets, but whatever it is. I'm going to journal this week, whatever it is. And you don't do it. You essentially disappoint yourself again and again and again. That is when you stop believing in yourself. So you actually create this, again, perpetual self-fulfilling prophecy that you are untrustworthy and you don't believe in yourself enough because you've never shown yourself that you are trustworthy and that you can believe in yourself. So I think that that's really important. You need to tell yourself that you'll do something. Start small. I'm going to drink a full glass of water this morning or every morning from now on with lemon in it, and do it. Drink the whole thing before you drink coffee. Move on to the next thing once you start doing that every morning. And then the next, and then the next, and the next. So just create trust within yourself by sticking to your word. I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk every single morning when I wake up. I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. every day. Set an alarm and do it. I feel like I do yoga from a place of performing directed movements and I don't feel the benefit. How do I tap into the connection with my body? Very good question. Very good question. I think this is an attachment to what other people think. So if you are going to a yoga class and thinking about what everybody else is going to think about your practice, that will lead you to perform. If you are performing on your own, I would say then you're tapping into your feminine energy, which likes to perform and likes to move and be graceful. And I would say there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are wanting to connect to your body, what I would recommend is to get used to stillness. So perhaps sitting there for a moment with your eyes closed and start to acknowledge all the sensations that you're having within your body and connect to your body by developing a deep understanding. So when you do a detailed scan of the body, muscle by muscle, bone by bone, you will be able to acknowledge, I feel tightness here, I feel sort of disconnected here. And when you develop a little bit of a deeper understanding and connection with your body, that might make it easier. But if you are performing for other people, I would say challenge yourself when you step into a class to not perform. Maybe do poses a little bit differently. Show up differently in a way that wouldn't be impressive to other people. Because if you show up in a way that you don't need to impress others and you show yourself that you don't have to do the splits when the teacher says do the splits. If you can do the splits, don't do it. Don't show off. Create a comfort in practicing and not caring about what other people think. So you basically have to just develop a detachment to what other people think of you. And, but like I say, if you're alone and you're having a desire to perform a little bit, maybe that is your body wanting to connect. I don't know. That is a really good question. I've never thought about it, but I can see that in myself too. When I'm in a yoga class, you feel obligated to do better than everybody else, right? Perform. But I would say that is an attachment to what other people think of you. And perhaps if you can be okay with being disliked by others or not admired by others, that would be a big deal. And I think that's a huge thing with confidence too, is just having courage to be disliked and to not be admired by everybody. Because when you live for other people, you're really going to be miserable. But yeah, guys, I'm going to have to go. But this was really, really fun. I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope that it helps you to develop a little bit of a love for yourself. Of course, Ami Brad. Thank you for being here. But yeah. I'll be live again later this week. So I will see you guys soon. And thanks for being here.